30 miles away, in a small, underfunded hospital in a rural district, Grace Miller tucked her 6-year-old son Noah into bed on a narrow cot beside her locker. She worked double shifts as a nurse, days in the pediatric ward, nights in emergency. Her salary barely paid rent, but her spirit never broke. She was a widow in all but name. Her husband had walked out when Noah was 2, leaving nothing but debt and heartbreak. That night, as rain poured and thunder roared, Grace was called to assist with a medical emergency. A helicopter was landing nearby, an unexpected patient transfer. When the doors opened, she froze. The man on the stretcher was Ethan King himself. His entourage of bodyguards and assistants followed, desperate and panicked, pleading for help. "Our machines can't handle a case like this," the head nurse protested. "He needs a private cardiac facility." "There's no time," Grace interrupted, examining his vitals. His pulse was fading fast, lips turning blue. "If we move him again, he'll die." The senior doctor hesitated, but Grace didn't. She called for adrenaline, manual defibrillation, and oxygen support. She'd seen similar trauma in her early days at a disaster relief camp, and she knew what to do. The moment was pure chaos, alarms screaming, power flickering, rain leaking from the roof. Ethan's body went still. Flatline. Everyone stepped back. Grace shouted. She performed chest compressions, whispered to the unconscious man, "Don't give up now. You've fought bigger battles than this." After nearly 5 agonizing minutes, the monitor beeped, a faint rhythm returned. Gasps filled the room. Grace had done it. The billionaire who everyone thought was untouchable was alive, because of a single mother from nowhere. When the medics took over, she didn't wait for praise. She returned to her desk, soaked, exhausted, and silent. To her, it wasn't heroism, it was duty. Days later, Ethan regained consciousness in his private recovery suite. Disoriented, fragile, and humbled, he whispered to his assistant, "Who saved me?" They told him the truth, a nurse from the countryside. Her name wasn't recorded. She refused publicity and left after your heartbeat stabilized. That answer didn't sit right. For a man used to control, not knowing who had saved his life was unbearable. He launched a private search, quietly. His body was weak, but his will was burning. He sent his head of security to every small hospital in the region. Weeks passed before they found her, Grace Miller, registered nurse, working part-time in a rural clinic. Ethan, now recovering, arrived there in an unmarked car. He watched her from the hallway as she helped an old woman into a chair, her smile warm, her touch gentle. For the first time in years, he felt peace. When he finally approached her, she recognized him instantly and froze, worried she was in trouble. "I just came to say thank you," he said softly. "You saved my life." Grace blushed. "I only did what any nurse would." "No," he insisted. "You did what no one else could." He tried to offer her money, she refused. He offered her a position in his company hospital, she declined again. Grace wasn't driven by greed. That fascinated Ethan more than anything. Over the next few weeks, Ethan found reasons to visit her clinic again and again. He brought medical supplies under the guise of charity, fixed the broken roof, and donated for new beds. Grace knew he was helping but said nothing. Her pride wouldn't let her feel indebted. Meanwhile, little Noah adored him. The boy didn't know Ethan was a billionaire. To him, he was just Mr. Ethan, the kind man who brought chocolate and told funny stories. One day, while Grace was treating a child with asthma, Ethan saw her hand trembling from exhaustion. "You can't keep doing this alone," he said. She smiled. "Mothers don't get to rest, Mr. King. We just keep going." Her resilience struck him harder than any business lesson he'd ever learned. For the first time in his life, Ethan began to question his empire built on cold ambition. Grace, without even trying, was teaching him what humanity meant. Months later, Ethan hosted his company's annual charity gala. Grace received a formal invitation she almost ignored, until Noah convinced her to go. When she arrived, she felt completely out of place in her simple dress. Cameras flashed, guests whispered. Then, suddenly, Ethan took the stage and silenced the crowd. "I owe my life to someone extraordinary," he began, his voice steady. "When I was dying, the best hospitals failed me. But one woman didn't give up. She saved me, not just with her hands, but with her heart. Tonight, I want the world to meet her." He turned to Grace. Spotlights followed. The crowd erupted in applause as she stepped forward, overwhelmed and trembling. Reporters swarmed her afterward, asking how it felt to be the billionaire's savior. Grace simply said, "Every life is worth saving, rich or poor." Her humility left everyone speechless. Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her, not out of obligation, but affection. He visited her home, played with Noah, shared meals with them, and began feeling a warmth he'd never known. His world had always been noise, competition, and profit margins. Grace's world was silence, laughter, and heart. One evening, under the soft glow of a streetlight, he confessed, "Grace, when I woke up in that hospital, I thought I was reborn. Not because my heart started beating again, but because you gave me a reason to live differently." Grace was stunned. "Ethan, I'm just a nurse with bills and a son. I'm not the kind of woman who fits in your world." "Then I'll change my world," he replied quietly. Still, she refused to let emotions rule. "Love born from gratitude doesn't last," she said. "You're thankful now, but when that fades, I'll just be another charity case." Her honesty cut deep, but instead of retreating, Ethan decided to prove her wrong. In the months that followed, Ethan began changing, not for business, but for Grace. He introduced employee welfare programs, health insurance for low-income families, and scholarships for nurses. Grace's hospital received new equipment, all anonymously funded. When the truth leaked that Ethan was behind it, the media went wild again, calling it the CEO's redemption. But Grace still kept her distance. She admired his transformation but didn't trust the world's motives. Then tragedy struck. Noah fell seriously ill with pneumonia. The local hospital lacked advanced care, and she couldn't afford private treatment. Ethan, upon hearing the news, arrived personally with his medical team and flew Noah to the city hospital. Grace wept as her son recovered in days. When she thanked Ethan, he said gently, "Now we're even. You saved my life, I saved his." She smiled through tears. "Then maybe we both owe each other nothing, and that's the perfect way to start something real." Just as love began to grow between them, tabloids twisted the story. Single mother seduces billionaire, gold digger nurse caught with CEO. Grace's reputation crumbled overnight. Patients avoided her clinic. Noah was bullied at school. She decided to resign and disappear quietly. When Ethan learned, he called a press conference. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, but he silenced them with one powerful statement. "You call her a gold digger. She saved my life when all your money, fame, and doctors couldn't. She is more human than any of you." The video went viral, flipping public opinion instantly. People flooded Grace with apologies, gifts, and letters of admiration. Ethan's empire regained its dignity, and Grace's courage became a national story. A few months later, in a quiet garden surrounded by blooming roses, Ethan and Grace stood hand in hand. It wasn't a grand wedding, just friends, family, and little Noah as the ring bearer. As vows were exchanged, Ethan said softly, "You taught me that life isn't about success, it's about love that gives life meaning." Grace replied, tears glistening, "And you taught me that even miracles need faith to survive." Their kiss wasn't cinematic, it was real, tender, and filled with gratitude. Ethan's empire no longer defined him, his family did. Every morning, he brought Grace breakfast. Every evening, he read Noah bedtime stories. He still ran his business, but now his greatest achievement was being the man she could count on. Years later, Grace opened a free hospital for single mothers and children, funded by Ethan but named after her late mother. Reporters came again, asking if she ever imagined this life. She smiled and said, "No one can predict miracles, they just happen when love meets courage." As she looked out at Noah running through the garden, and Ethan standing proudly beside her, she whispered, "I saved your life once, but you gave mine a purpose forever." And that's how the story of the dying CEO and the brave single mother became legend, a reminder that wealth fades, fame dies, but love born from compassion lasts forever.